What? What is this? What are you doing?
It's a motorcycle. You see?
I love your happy face. It's so good. But you don't even have a motorcycle license, babe.
Don't you worry about that.
I do worry about these things. And why? My God, why are you building a motorcycle?
Well, I had this hand truck left over from the hand truck go-kart project. And I thought, what else could I build a hand truck into? A motorcycle! It's gonna be sick! I don't even know how to ride a motorcycle.
No.
But something tells me I'm gonna learn pretty quick.
You're crazy. So now there's a motorcycle bike happening, but you're going shopping like a mad person then? Again?
No, look, practically free, right? This is free. The engine behind you, sitting there, free. Okay, maybe I bought some stuff for this project. Don't worry your little cotton socks and your happy flops.
Okay, I'll stop being the worry wart then. I will leave it to you.
Now, I wasn't quite honest with my wife Kristen, because yes, I got a bunch of parts for free, including this engine, but I don't actually know if it starts. And being that this whole project hinges on this engine running, it's a make or break situation.
Right, the engine. It's a 125 4-stroke. Yes, I know it's not a big engine, but it was free, people. Free! Now, the guy I got it off said it used to run. But as you can see, it doesn't really look very healthy at all, does it? I don't think a sock is really going to help the carburetor, is it? What are we going to do? We've got to get a carburetor, get some fuel, check the spark, and then hopefully this thing will just fire right up.
So the first thing I did was steal the carburetor from my go-kart, which I happened to turn into a snowmobile just recently. Now the spark plug was going to tell me a lot about this engine and how it's been running. But then I remembered I don't know anything about engines, and it sparks, so it must be good. The only thing I had to do now was make a sketchy fuel tank from an old juice bottle and give it a go. I mean, there's no pressure at all. It's only the whole project hinging on this actually working.
Right, let's see if this thing actually runs. It's a bit hard to do not standing on it. Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh, that's not good. Really wants to go. Oh, I wanted to go! Yes! Free engine, people! Free engine! And it works! Let's go! Free engine! Yes! Woo! Alright, the engine works and I may have got a little too excited. But this is kind of the concept, kind of. I think I'm going to have to chop a lot of stuff off and readapt. I think the wheels are a little bit too far and the engine's a little bit too far forward. So yeah, how are we going to do this? I think we just have to start cutting and then we'll go from there.
So as I cut this hand truck apart, I began to see a little better how I could actually build this thing. So I sketched up a quick design and just hoped that I wasn't going to screw this up. Now to get the angles I wanted for the bottom half, I just needed to cut the parts in half, then rotate one half 90 degrees to get the angle I needed. However, the top half was a little bit more complicated, and I thought I could just do it with the ratchet straps and a hammer. And although I had some progress, I did end up having to cut it, then bend it, and do the same as what I did on the bottom.
How did I get that so right? With a hammer! With a hammer! Dude, that looks sick! What's next? Let's go.
What was next? Tacking the frame together, then working out how I was going to do the rear axle. But for the rear axle mounts, I thought, why don't I just use the old swing arm and cut the ends off? Alright, here's the idea for the rear axle. Basically, pipe with some bearings in the ends. It seems to be a bit loose there, so we'll have to machine something up inside there. And then brake, sprocket, and wheel flanges welded on. So that's the plan. Except I don't have any tools to do that. So I need to call my friend Frederick. Yes, Frederick came to the rescue again as I spend all my money on projects and not tools. He helped me weld up the rear axle and machine out the space for the bearings, along with machining the flanges for the sprocket and the brake. And they fit super nice. And again, because Frederick has access to better tools than me, cutting the wheel mounting flange was super easy. Now when I got home, I 3D metered... Oh god, that is like the biggest mosquito I've ever seen. It's the size of a pterodactyl. Look at the size of that thing. Sorry, I was trying to say that I 3D printed this marking jig for the bolt holes. And all I had to do is drill and tap them out. After a much needed coffee, hand delivered by my wife, it was time to get this thing welded on properly. But there was always this voice in my head saying, "You have no idea what you're doing, do you? You don't even know anything about motorcycles." And after triple checking that I've actually tacked it on straight, I thought, screw that guy, and sent it. I quickly checked the clearances for the chain, then sent caution to the wind. However, with the brake flange, I was running into a bit of a problem. I needed someone better looking than myself to bounce some ideas off.
Hi, babe.
Hey.
It's cracking. Hey, look at it.
Yay, on the seat, Justin. It's attached. It's there. You can flip and flip it.
But I haven't shown them that. I'm trying to trick the audience into thinking that I've done things in this order and that I haven't welded the frame together and put the seat on yet. Okay, Kristen? Stop ruining the illusion! So you need to film this way, Kristen, and focus on the real dilemma, which is the fact that I feel like I can't just weld the brake, like flange on, because of my OCD, to be honest.
Okay.
So I could just weld this on.
Mm-hmm.
But then to paint it would be a pain in the ass because I'd have to mask up all this stuff. Then on top of that, like what if I want to get the wheel off?
Mm-hmm.
If I weld this on, I'll never be able to get the wheel off.
So what if it punctures?
Exactly, right? I'd have a big problem.
Yeah.
So my issue is, how am I going to turn this into a piece that comes on and off? So I've been thinking about this now. This pipe, weld this on, and then we put like a couple of bolts in here into this piece of pipe, and it should be able to hold itself in position, and I can adjust it. It can be anywhere up and down on this piece of pipe. I don't have to be stuck with one position, which is kind of good.
That's good.
I'm glad someone sees it my way. I could have done it the old dodgy way and just welded that thing on, but
Yeah.
thank you, Kristen. You've now given me permission to keep on going.
Did you ever need my permission? No.
Without Kristen's permission, I precisely measured 3 holes to align perfectly. These holes were supposed to be equally spaced. How did I get that wrong? Let's be honest though, guys. If I hadn't showed you this, you wouldn't have known, would you? Yeah, good point, Justin. Good point. Now, there's something funny about welding. See, sometimes you think, oh God, I butchered that. And then when you take your mask off, it's amazing. And then when you think you've done a good weld, it's garbage. I really do have a lot to learn. Now for the rear caliper mount, I just had to gently modify it. Okay, gently wasn't the word I should have used. I mean, I cut off like 80% of it, not even knowing how it was supposed to work in the first place. But I made it work. Right, that seems to work pretty good, except the hose is a little short. I, however, have another hose from another project I didn't use, which fits perfect. So we just need to change the hose and the rear brakes will be all good. Now, what's next? I don't really know because I've never really built a motorcycle before. Kristen let slip that I kind of welded the frame together and made this seat mount. But what I haven't done is make the mount for the rear part of the seat. And I was thinking, why don't I just use this tray from the hand truck as a kind of like mount and as like a mud guard, right? Pretty cool. So I think I'll do that. And then I also think I need to look at this frame because I feel like it's just going to bend in half the second it gets any sort of chance or big hit. So that's what I think we need to do next. And then I guess we'll just go from there. Whose freaking idea was it to build a motorcycle? So as this project came along, and it looked like I was actually going to be able to do this, doubt started to creep in again. And I began to think a little bit more of what Kristen said.
You don't even have a motorcycle license, babe.
Was I even going to be able to ride this thing? Was it even going to ride straight? And who was I to make a motorcycle? I don't know anything about motorcycles. What was I even thinking? But after laying this sweet weld and seeing the results, there was no turning back. Alright, the next major headache. Alright, because our engine sprocket and our wheel sprocket are misaligned, we can't exactly put a angled chain on. That doesn't work. So, what are we going to do instead? I think I'm going to make a primary sprocket here, which goes from the engine to here, and then an axle out here with another sprocket here and the chain going to the wheel. So basically 2 chains. How are we going to do that? I don't know yet. What I did know is that I had to start with the primary sprocket mount. And the idea was that the bearing was going to be able to pivot, and that would also tension my chain, and therefore I wouldn't get any chain slippage. And to be honest, these 2 mounts turned out better than I expected. I just hoped I could weld on the sprockets straight so I could actually use them. Oh, come on, get in there.
Hey there, Mr. Bikey.
Hello, Mrs. Not Biking.
What's crack lacking? Huh? Or what's lacking? What's lacking in the cracking on your bike?
Handlebars, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, you weren't going to shove your teeth on that.
what?
It's just Yep, handlebars.
I can't get over shoving your teeth on the oral. What does that even mean? What? Yes, I got handlebars to go on, and I also need to work out an exhaust system here.
Cool. Is it for sound effects or for aesthetic looks?
For both, but
Oh, for both.
mainly aesthetic looks.
Okay, mainly aesthetic looks.
Yeah, us male creatures are quite visual.
Yeah.
You need to.
Good thing you picked me then. Oh, that's a good thing. You're lucky, aren't you? You're lucky you got me. Huh?
Hey, I'm just gonna get on with it, okay?
Okay, get on with it.
After deciding on the coolest set of handlebars, I needed to modify the risers. So I just cut the originals and then bolted on these new angled ones, and it fit awesome. Then it was just a case of fixing the throttle, brake and clutch, and it was good to go. The handlebars and headlight in place, like magic, Frederick turned up to help me with the exhaust.
It's just such a shame you can't ride it on the road.
Who says we can't ride on the road?
We have to do a wheelie on this thing. But the flex you have here, we don't drop the clutch.
Let's not talk about my engineering, Frederick.
Yeah, of course you have to. But yeah, you think this will withstand a clutch drop?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can stand on this. You can like put it back and try to take a wheelie on it.
Yeah, alright. I think we're dreaming. Let's just
Yeah.
get the exhaust on.
So you go down like that. And then I'll take off the skid plate, you don't need that.
No.
And come up like this. And then a collector here. How much do we bend it? I don't know. 10 pumps?
Yeah, that's what I say to my missus all the time.
That's 10 pumps, that's all you get.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna look nice. I think nice was a bit of an understatement. See, this was turning out way better than I expected. But don't get me wrong, I could have done exactly what Frederick's doing, just 10 times worse. And it would have probably worked. But it's so much better to have a mate come along and be part of the project. You not only get the benefit of his skills, but you also just get to hang out in the garage together. And let's be honest, these days, you seldom get a chance to do that. Wow, look at that exhaust. Frederick did an amazing job. So what have we got left on this thing before we can actually ride it? Well, very little, to be honest. Now, I've got my gas tank left, which, to be honest, I had to get Frederick to re-weld the seam here because it was horrifically bad. I guess you get what you pay for when you buy things from China. So, gas tank, then a bit of wiring, and we should be good to go. This is gonna be sick. Let's go. So rather than save my money, I splashed out on this racing car bit. Yeah, this is gonna make all the difference, is what I said when I was flushing all my money away. But it looks pretty cool. Now, if you remember the original wiring, it was pretty rough. So I decided to buy a whole new wiring loom and start over. Then I just had to hide all my sins under the gas tank, and no one was the wiser.
Right, the tank is secure, which means the hand truck Fat Boy Bobber is finished! How good does this thing look? I think Harley Davidson would be proud. Or they'll kill me, one of the two. Anyways, now we've just got to strip this thing back, give it a lick of paint, and it'll look like this! Okay, but yeah, I've got to do the work first. Alright, you ready for the big reveal?
I am. Whoa! Look at that, baby. She's a beauty.
Not
She
bad for a hand
is
truck.
a beauty. Oh, it doesn't look like much of a hand truck, does it now?
It does not.
But
Really?
she is a beauty, darling. Look at this. Look at this beautiful detail, everybody. I love it. And it's shining. Can I sit on it?
Yeah, you can sit on it.
It's like a teeny tiny Harley.
What do you mean teeny tiny?
It's like a medium-sized Harley.
Yeah, take that back.
Oh, she looks great, doesn't it? Look at you going.
Now I'm genuinely chuffed with this project. The fact that it is made with a majority of a hand truck and parts people were just throwing away amazes me. But I did buy a lot of parts, so if you do want to know where I got some of those parts, there's links in the description. But enough of the talking. Everyone just wants to see me ride a motorcycle for the first time and seriously injure myself. A couple of times I was like in fourth gear and I was like, holy moly. Now this thing brought a smile to everybody's face who rode it. It's a bit fun, right?
It's so much fun.
Starting to get really good at it. Yeah, but I mean,
Thanks, dude.
yeah.
But I do want to say, it was really hard to get it to lean into corners. It turned horribly, and it lacked front end grip. Now I don't know anything about motorcycles, so how would you fix the hand truck Fat Boy? Let me know in the comments. Just a little teaser of what it's gonna look like. Yeah, right.